Okay, Eric Arnold back in the politics barn here on this Monday evening, the 14th of August. Bear with me while we verify that the video is working. We shot a whole video and all we got was audio. In other words, there was a picture of the bullet or the blackboard here, and I wasn't in it. It was just blackboard with me talking. Bizarrest thing that it just recorded a frozen image of, I guess, the video and then just recorded audio. Strange. So we're going to try again. Politics Barn episode. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the topic again. Why? Well, I had a conversation with an independent voter over the weekend. And I wanted to hit a few items based on that conversation. One thing, and I think this is probably the guts of this video, is I'm trying to illustrate to people that are not on the right side of the aisle, people that haven't taken the red pill yet, people that still are just not paying attention or just don't follow the news that often, that a lot of what you think you know is not true, that you're getting it from sources which are unreliable and or simply out and out liars. And you're believing these lies. I mean, for any number of reasons that perhaps you just simply don't know any better. Try to get a little air in here. Maybe it's what you want to hear, but my point to you all is, why would you believe sources that have been proven to be liars? Why would you listen to them? For example, the Russian hoax, where we were told for 2.5 years by everybody in the leftist media and all the Democrats that Donald Trump was absolutely 100% an agent of Russia. And when it came time for them to put their cards on the table, when Bill Barr said, all right, that's enough. You're not going to just investigate this guy endlessly. You've had 2.5 years. What do you got? The Mueller report was nothing but nothing. There was no evidence of any kind of Russian collusion there between Trump and the Russians. And now I think it's pretty well established now everywhere that that is so, except in leftist circles where they just lie to themselves and pretend it's true. But Donald Trump was never a Russian agent, but we were told he was. Now, the penalty, at least for me, that these outlets, these people, for lying to me, I don't believe them anymore. When Adam Schiff, Democrat congressman from California, gets up there and tells me that the sun rises in the east, I go out and check because, while it is my experience that does happen, Adam Schiff isn't a born liar. You can't believe a word the guy says. So, you have to verify any statements coming from these people that have been caught lying. So that's what we're going to dig into. It's a John Solomon article that was on the internet today about, I believe it's entitled 5 Biden Legends or Stories That Have Been Proven to Be Lies. I've kind of distilled it a little bit just to try to make this episode a half hour or less. A few other things, and I'm going to double check that the video is running at this point, that I wanted to cover here is that 3 items after talking to Mr. Independent. Mr. Independent was along the lines, now this is who's Mr. Independent. This is a Biden voter. He should be a Trump voter. He probably would be a Republican voter if the name Trump wasn't on the top line of the GOP ticket. That's, I guess, our cross to bear because Trump was on the top line and he will be again. There's not a lot we can do about that. I guess Mr. Independent, I mean, there's not a lot he can do about it because he's not part of the Republican Party. So it's not like he's going to help us in the primaries to defeat Donald Trump. So he gets what he gets, and what he's going to get is a binary choice between Trump and Biden, which he got wrong the last time. Now it's our job to try to convince him that he is wrong, which is like trying to convince, well, I mean, again, as I said over and over again, people would rather just sort of killing themselves. They'll set themselves on fire before they'll admit they're wrong. So heavy lift for us. But at any rate, his point was, what's this Hunter Biden? Who cares? I mean, it's not important. Nobody cares. They're all corrupt. And what's Hunter Biden have to do with anything? I would have thought this was obvious, but let's try to stress it. Hunter equals Joe. Joe equals Hunter. They're the same. When you talk about Hunter, you're talking about the president. They're equal. The corruption could not go on without the vice president, now president. You know, as I pointed out in the previous video, Hunter Biden has no discernible skills. He's an attorney who really does very little attorneying. He's unhireable because he's a drug addict. I looked that up because I thought, oh, well, some of these people are going to think that he just became an addict in the last year or two. This guy's been an addict since at least June of 2013. That's when he tested positive as a naval officer. Daddy got him some phony baloney job with the Navy as a press officer or something, and he couldn't even do that. Basically, his only job requirements were to pass a drug test, which he failed. So the Navy booted him out. And that happened, the test was failed in 2013. So all along this timeline, when all these millions of dollars are coming in, it's not for Hunter Biden's lawyering skills that they're hiring this guy for. If you take Joe out of the equation, there's no reason in the world you'd hire Hunter Biden. It's obvious that the two are linked, that when they're paying Hunter, they're paying him because of work that they expect or Joe has already done. Now, money that flows into Hunter, well, how does that help Joe Biden? Joe Biden is not getting any of that money. Of course he is. Of course he is. Don't be stupid, for Christ's sakes. Have you seen the palaces that this guy lives in? And if you paid any attention at all on what's on that laptop, you know, Hunter, contemporaneously, not knowing that we're going to end up reading his laptop due to his own idiocy, he's talking about giving half his money to his father. He's complaining about it. He talks about paying the bills of his parents because he's the bag man. He's where the millions are coming into. The Biden family is pretty much one and the same. So when the money comes in to Hunter or Joe's brother James or believe it or not, some of the other players, the House developed information that money was coming from a Chinese energy company through one of the Hunter's bagman buddies, Rob Walker, to Hallie Biden. Who's Hallie Biden? Hallie Biden is the widow of Beau Biden, former girlfriend, I guess, of Hunter Biden. And if you remember how that went, where Beau Biden died, Hunter started banging widow Hallie. That went on for a couple years, and then they broke up. I think at some point, while banging Hallie, he got divorced from his wife, Kathleen. Now, don't think too badly of old Hunter there. You're saying, who bangs the wife of his dead brother? Well, I'm sure when he started banging him, he wasn't dead. So it probably is just an ongoing thing. But at any rate, that's who Hallie Biden is. Why is she getting money wired to her by Rob Walker? Why is that happening? You know, answer that, Democrats. So the Biden family is all one and the same. So when these millions are coming in to Hunter or Hunter's companies or Hunter's buddies and their bagmen, that money's filtering back to Joe. Don't be stupid. Of course it is. Of course it is. None of this stuff would happen without Joe. There's no product without Joe. Nobody would buy anything from Hunter. He has nothing to sell without Joe. So that's why this is important, because the leader of the free world is on the take. It's not, oh, Donald Trump did worse. I guess I could, at some point, I guess I'll have to dig into some of that stuff and try to figure out, okay, why do you guys think Donald Trump is the devil? Why do you think he did worse? I'll say one thing right now without getting, hip deep in the lies of the lying networks and CNN and Twitter. Well, Twitter, I guess, is on our side now, or Facebook, or Google. Without digging into the morass of lies there, Donald Trump has been under Democrat investigation for at least 5 years, maybe longer. But, 2.5 years at the beginning of his term, and then, of course, as soon as Joe Biden was sworn in, since then, he's been under incredible scrutiny by the Democrat FBI, the Democrat NSA, the CIA, the DOJ. You name an acronym, they're after Donald Trump. And all these charges that they've got Donald Trump up on, where they're looking to put him in jail for, in reality, the rest of his natural life, if you actually stacked it end to end, it's, I think, like 600 years or something like that. They want to put him in jail for 600 years. None of these charges have to do with selling his office. None of it has to do with bribery. So right there, that tells me, no, I don't think Donald Trump was on the take, because if you guys had the shadow of evidence that he was, you would be charging him with that too. But you're not. So this false equivalency that Trump's corrupt, I don't care if the Bidens are corrupt, because Trump's corrupt too. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. So that's what we're trying to demonstrate here, is that Joe is corrupt. Joe is on the take. Joe is compromised. Joe is one big giant liar. Now, Weiss. I guess there was some tittering or some excitement on the people in the center and left of center. Friday? Did Merrick Garland, I guess he has now declared that former or current U.S. attorney from Delaware, Weiss, is the special counsel who's designated to investigate Hunter Biden. Like this is a story of some kind. This is people insulting your intelligence. That's what this is. I mean, they're just basically trying to say, how stupid are you? I'm going to find out how stupid you are. Weiss is the man that's been designated all along to investigate Hunter Biden. Weiss is the man who's created this ridiculous sweetheart plea deal that some judge said, this is too ridiculous, I'm not even going to sign off on this, where basically you got two sides that are supposed to be opposite working together, the DOJ and Hunter Biden's attorneys going, okay, what's the best deal we can pass off here and not look completely corrupt? I know, let's get 2 misdemeanors and immunity for everything. And even that was too ridiculous. And that was done by Weiss. Weiss is the one that came up with that. So this idea that Weiss is going to do anything other than cover up Hunter Biden's crimes is ridiculous. Weiss is a liar. We know that. How do we know that? He's not a liar. How do we know that? Well, let's see. They have 2 whistleblowers from the IRS. I believe Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler. These guys came forth after Weiss basically came out and said, okay, here are the charges. Nothing, 2 little misdemeanors, and well, that's it. That's all we could find. And of course, the guys working on the Hunter Biden case are saying, wait a minute, there's so many felonies here. I mean, if this was anybody other than someone named Biden, he'd be in jail for a long time. This is wrong. So these guys come forth, and now they're testifying before Congress. And it's their testimony, Ziegler and Shapley, that a meeting was held at some point last year before the sweetheart deal was announced to the world, where Weiss told Ziegler, Shapley, and other people at the meeting who were involved in the investigation that, hey, we can't go any further. My hands are tied. I'm not the deciding official on this. I've got people up above I got to answer to. I am not the deciding official on this. We can't go any further. So both Ziegler and Shapley testified to that before Congress. Weiss himself, when asked by Congress about that, said, no, I'm the deciding official. Yeah, absolutely. I'm the buck stops here. I get to decide what happens to Hunter Biden. Yep, that's me. Okay, they both can't be true. They both can't be true. Unless you got Shapley and Ziegler lying, which I find highly unlikely. In other words, if both those guys were lying, there were probably about 6 or 8 other people in that meeting that would have come out by now and said, no, here's what really happened. But no one else has come out to call Shapley and Ziegler liars. So I believe those two guys. So basically, Weiss lied. It's just a question of which one is a lie. Was he lying to his own people when he said he was not the decision maker? Or was he lying to Congress when he said, yep, I'm the decision maker. No, I'm not catching any kind of heat. Or no one like Merrick Garland's looking over my shoulder. So the guy's definitely a liar. Then, now this guy's in charge of the special, it's a sham. The only reason they're doing it is to shut down the House investigators. So when the House goes to subpoena records from, say, banks or more of Hunter's bagmen partners or the Bidens themselves, well, they'll simply cross their arms and go, no, the special prosecutor is talking to me. I can't talk to you while I'm talking to the special prosecutor. So then, of course, they're going to end up in court, and it's going to just get tied up. It's just a way to take the House Oversight Committee out of play and control the investigation, which you've already had control of, and you've already shown that you've covered all this up. You've done nothing. The DOJ has done nothing with the Hunter Biden investigation. The DOJ knew, the FBI knew that Hunter Biden's laptop was valid in 2019, according to testimony by Shapley. He wanted to use it as part of evidence in his tax investigation, but he was told no. But the FBI did admit to him that it is real. That is a real laptop of Hunter Biden's. They did it again in 20 in various testimony, I believe Shapley testified to. We have other testimony from FBI officials that they admit that they had verified it by certainly 2020. Shapley's testimony is that it was verified as early as 2019. Think about that. That's long before we even knew about it. Long before the New York Post broke the story in October of 20. So the FBI has had voluminous evidence of Hunter Biden's criminality and has done nothing with it for years. So this idea now that DOJ attorney Weiss, who's been in charge of this investigation for years, is suddenly going to do something. Again, like I said, I guess it's just a test of how stupid are you? If you believe that, I mean, I guess you're pretty stupid. Now, I don't know who I'm talking to out there. Obviously, people that have taken the red pill. We all know this is happening. We're trying to explain it to people like my mother who don't pay attention that much, or Mr. Independent there. It's like, this is a sham. It's a joke. It's a test of your intelligence. So, but again, why Joe equals Hunter? Why is that important? Rank corruption. This is where we're trying to convince you when that binary choice comes up in a year and a little bit. to look at Trump and not just reflexively reject him, where you go, my God, I can't believe this. I hate Trump. He's corrupt. Well, the guy you're putting back in is the worst, most corrupt president we've ever had in this country. I think I'm pretty safe in saying that. Joe Biden is much more corrupt than Richard Nixon ever was. The only guy I'm thinking that might hold a candle to Joe Biden is possibly Lyndon Johnson. But I guess we'd have to weigh that one out. You know, they're both, well, that's another episode. But at any rate, that's what I'm trying to get Mr. Independent to think a little bit about. It's like, don't just dismiss this shit out of hand. They're all corrupt. The guy you're voting for is compromised in ways that you cannot believe. But at any rate, here's some lies that you've been told, and what's the punishment for the liars that have told these lies? Let's start with this laptop. And that is a big one because that would have probably turned the election. Had that story been reported legitimately, there are polls that show that enough votes would have swung just based on, why would they swing? Well, there's a lot of criminality in that laptop. There's a lot of lewd and crude behavior that people like my mother would not like in that laptop. Hookers, smoking crack, people like my mother don't like that sort of thing. The laptop shows any number of statements that Joe Biden has made regarding the business enterprise of his son and brother are lies. It shows that he's a liar. So the laptop itself was a huge story, and it was, I believe the deep state phrase is captured and killed, that the deep state and the lying Marxist Democrats were able to capture the story and kill it. What is their punishment? That's what I'm asking you, independents. Now how do we know the laptop is legitimate? Well, at this juncture, I went on Google just to see, and I think basically now even the leftist media basically acknowledges that the laptop is Hunter Biden's laptop. Even Hunter Biden himself now, I believe, is suing the repairman who he abandoned the laptop with, is suing him. So he's, to me, at that juncture, admitting ownership of said laptop. How did we know? What happened there? What was the lie? Well, the details of the story we're trying to remember. We'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. Crackhead Hunter Biden drops off the laptop, among possibly other things. I'm not sure about that. But the laptop is dropped off at a Delaware repair shop. The Delaware repairman makes many attempts to get back with Hunter Biden to tell him that his laptop is ready to be retrieved. I don't know if he could fix it or not. I can't remember if he fixed it or he was unsalvageable or what have you. But at any rate, I guess he wants him to pick up his laptop. Here, come get it. Well, he never responded and he never came back. So I don't know what the rules are for laptop repairmen. I guess in that little industry, they probably have pretty set rules. It's probably on the fine print of whatever property receipt you give the guy. So he takes a look at it and he finds all kind of things that are pretty scary on there. So he calls the FBI and he turns over a copy to them, who promptly threaten him, of course, but he turns a copy over to the FBI. And then, after nothing happens for a year, he turns a copy over to, I believe, Rudy Giuliani. And then ultimately, Giuliani, I believe, gave it to the New York Post. I think that was the path where it got to the New York Post. So the New York Post is publishing pictures and emails and what have you out of this laptop in October of 20. And that's when deep state and the Democrat media went into high drive going, holy cow, we got to do something about this. Now, I would argue they already knew this was out there because the FBI had a copy of this. So you can't tell me that the FBI didn't notify the Biden campaign that, hey, guess what your crackhead son did? You know, we got that over here, you know. Oh, don't worry, we're not going to do anything with it, but it is out there in the wind. So, you know, just so you know that this could surface at some point. So I'm certain that the Biden campaign knew this could happen. So once it does get out there, they run into high drive saying, well, wait a minute, now this is all fake. This is all fake. This is Russian disinformation. Russian disinformation. This is a Russian op. This is Russian spies trying to meddle with the election. That they're trying to fix our elections. Now, of course, the people fixing the elections are the Democrats, of course. They're the ones that are doing it. Why? Because they're lying to you. It's not a Russian op. Even that itself would have led to other questions had the story been covered legitimately. In other words, if somehow the media had just said, oh, well, all right, you're saying this is a Russian op? Well, how did that happen? You know, how would they even begin to have inserted this laptop to the New York Post? I mean, is this or is this not a picture of Hunter Biden smoking crack? Is this not you? Is that a AI? Is that a fake? Here's a picture of the whole Biden family wearing numbers at a 5-kilometer foot race. Is that fake? Did you not attend this foot race? You know, there are thousands of personal pictures on there, not all of Hunter Biden naked or smoking crack. You know, there's a lot of personal, hey, here's a picture of Hunter Biden with his kids. Here's a picture of Hunter Biden with his wife. You know, all that stuff. All that stuff is somehow fabricated and totally faked. You know, for this to be a Russian op, they would have had to have gotten a hold of the laptop. So right there's questions. It's like, well, how did they? Now, if you're saying that happened or that could have happened, yeah, that could have happened. Sure. How would that happen? Well, that's easy. I mean, if I wanted to infiltrate the Bidens, you know, one or two, you just buy them. You just buy them right up front, like, you know, all these other oligarchs have. You know, that's easy enough. Or you simply, if you don't want to bother with that, you hire women spies. Women hookers. You know, you just put a woman hooker in with Hunter, give him some kind of Mickey so he passes out. A free run. You know, you got all the laptop and BlackBerry and cell phone information you ever want. Copied and sent right to the capital of whatever stand there is. You know, Kyrgyzstan or Pakistan or Iran, whatever. That's easy. So, you know, if those questions had been asked, you know, maybe I might have said, well, okay, you know, maybe this is somehow Russian disinformation. But of course, this just simple, reflexive, nope, Russian disinformation, and then everybody else just, whoop. Well, can we talk about, no, that's censored. That's totally censored. That whole topic, totally censored. Then you know they're lying. You know it's not Russian disinformation. You know they're lying. And of course, they were lying. They had a letter drafted, which Joe Biden brought up at the debate. It was the first thing he wanted to bring up on this topic. It was a letter he fabricated, a fraud that he perpetrated. The letter was signed by 51 deep state foreign policy operatives saying the laptop was likely Russian disinformation. It was not genuine. It was fake. Now, they had no knowledge whatsoever as to whether it was fake or not. These 51 didn't look at the laptop. They had no information other than the fact that they wanted it to be fake. Joe Biden was telling them it was fake. So they just simply took him at his word and put their reputations on the line and signed this fraudulent letter, knowing goddamn well that the thing very likely was legitimate. The guy who put the letter together is named Mike Morrell. He admitted before Congress when the Republican House brought him in and said, "Why did you make this letter up?" He said, "Well, I wanted Joe Biden to win." He admitted that. I mean, in a way, that's kind of shocking to me, but in a way, it's not shocking to me. I mean, that's just basically them just giving us the finger right out. It's like, yeah, we cheated, we lied. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? So this is a huge lie and fraud put out there by Joe Biden and his lackeys in the media who carried his water, who ran around censoring people that were trying to tell the truth about this story. It's outrageous. And why on earth do you listen to those sources? When a source like that, who covered this story up, a CNN, a Facebook, Google, YouTube, when they put something out there that says Donald Trump's corrupt, why in God's name do you listen to that? They're known liars. So that's a proof, that's a lie, it's a huge lie where Donald Trump, or God help me, not Donald Trump, Joe Biden was proven to be an absolute 100% liar. Here's some more Biden lies that have been overwhelmingly proven to be lies. He's gone on and on for years saying he's never discussed his business with his son Hunter. Never discussed it. Absolutely not. No, not involved in it. No, we don't discuss it. We don't even think about discussing it. Well, that's an obvious lie, and now it's been proven any number of ways. You've got the testimony of Hunter's bagman partners who are still on Team Biden, so they're giving out just the barest information that they could possibly give out and stay out of jail and not get shot by Team Biden. So they're Devin Archer, Rob Walker, Tony Bobolinsky, remember that guy? He went out and gave an interview before the election saying, yeah, I met with Joe Biden. Absolutely it was about business. So yeah, discussed, never met, lies, lies, lies. Joe Biden is at these dinners. It's in the laptop. There's emails to the effect of, hey Hunter, thanks for setting up the meeting yesterday with your father. Appreciate it. Thanks, we'll talk later. There's overwhelming evidence now that these are lies. They always have been lies. They've been sworn to by the Democrat media, and they originated with Joe, I'm a giant liar, Biden. Oh, and then probably the biggest lie of all that Joe Biden and the media have been running with is that Hunter's never done anything wrong. No matter what Hunter's into, even the obvious crimes of hard drug use, that is a crime somewhere. I mean, don't they send African Americans to jail forever for those kind of crimes? But not Hunter Biden. Oh no. No, not him. We ignore that. He's admitted that he's failed to pay taxes. Failed to pay taxes in an amount that any other man in the country, well, other than Joe Biden, of course, or any other Biden, would be felonies. I looked up what Pete Rose, how much he evaded in taxes back in, I believe it was 1990. He went to jail for a few months for failing to pay taxes. And the internet said it was $400,000. Hunter Biden's alleged to have evaded around $8 million, I read. And that, again, that's the tip of the iceberg. That's just what they know about. I'm certain there's way more than that. There's way more than that. Otherwise, Shapley and Ziegler wouldn't be blowing the whistle saying, hey, we got shut down here. We only got the tip of the iceberg here and we were shut down. That's why they're blowing the whistle, because this is being covered up. So whatever little bit is out there, there is way more to it than that. So, you know, an amount that, what is that, 20 times what Pete Rose evaded, and this guy still stays out of jail. Oh, Shazam, how about that? So that's wrong. Then, of course, you got the gun control thing, which, okay, you didn't check a box on a form. Well, it's a felony. So, you know what, Democrats? If you don't find that important, then I don't want to hear about your gun control whining. Either you care about guns and gun control, or you don't. Because if your guy's in trouble and you just go, oh, well, that's no big deal, well, then you lose all credibility, as if you hadn't already. So that was just thrown away. And like I said, then just the prima facie evidence of pay-to-play corruption. At this point, I think they've pretty well proven that the Burisma scam was, it's a crime. It's, what's the word I'm looking for? Bribery. It's out and out bribery. But, you know, so this is what I'm trying to show Mr. Independent. I'm trying to get that, hey, it's going to be a binary choice again. It's not the choice you want, but it's going to be Biden and Trump. That's very likely going to be your choice. And don't just reflexively pick Biden. You're making a mistake. Another mistake. So give me a chance here. Think about this. Think about the corruption that Joe Biden is neck deep in. Think about what a liar this guy is. Think about how his first move is, anytime he gets in trouble, is to try to censor the opponents. What kind of society is that? Well, that's a rhetorical question. It's an authoritarian society. Is that what you want to live in? An authoritarian society? Because that's fun until you're the one that's under the gun. You know, as long as they're beating the shit out of people like me that you don't really care about, hey, that's fine. You know, oh, Donald Trump, he's going to go to jail forever. Oh, those guys that went into the Capitol, they're in jail and they're going to stay in jail. The hell with them. I don't know any of them. But when suddenly it's your ox that's being gored and you have no recourse, all those laws and constitutional stuff that we have that's supposed to protect you from unlawful prosecutions, and that stuff ain't there anymore, and they're just dropping you in jail and you've got no other recourse, now it's suddenly not so cool. But at any rate, I believe in free speech. I'm Eric Arnold. We'll talk again. Signing off.